Hello friends, greetings of the day. This is Mr. Rajesh Zune, Faculty of Communication Skills at Chuvile Kelvani Mandal's Institute of Pharmacy, Maharashtra. Friends, today I am interacting with you on crucial element of communication skills, that is designing effective presentation with special focus on managing stage anxiety and QA session. Friends, delivery of presentation is the vital aspect of your professional life. Not only in professional sphere of life, you have to deliver effective presentation, but even in social functions also. Many a times you have to deliver presentations. And when it comes to presentation, what elements, what techniques, what methods we have to adopt to make it more engaging, more productive, more convincing, and more comprehensible and effective, that I have talked so far in my last 5 to 6 videos. Friends, today in this video we are going to explore about what is stage fright, stage anxiety, and how to overcome it, along with how to manage questioning and answering section. So friends, go ahead and see what we are going to study in this session. At the outset, I disclaim the very purpose of this video is to spread ideas, disseminate knowledge for educational purpose, and there is not any commercial motive behind it. The entire content and the images of this presentation taken from diverse resources, and all these resources are duly acknowledged at last in the references. So friends, as I said in the beginning itself, that in this presentation, in this video, we are going to explore every corner of how to manage stage anxiety, stage fright. We are going to study, we are going to learn what is stage fright and how to manage it, and also QA session, that is questioning and answering session. If you watch this video till the end, definitely you'll understand what is stage anxiety, how to manage it, and how to cope up with QA session. Friends, here I have quoted R.W. Emerson, that he says, all great speakers were the bad speakers at the first. Means your journey towards effective, productive, convincing, and effective speaker starts with your first step as bad speaker. So friends, believe that if it is your first attempt to make your presentation, don't get bothered, don't be anxious if people say that it's not your presentation is not up to the mark. Don't get so anxious, because your journey towards excellence starts with what? Your first poor steps or bad steps. Friends, we all know that. In what way we learn walking? 100 times, even 1,000 times we have got down, we failed in our attempt to get up and stand and walk, but still the day could have come that we stood successfully and we walked our way. So friends, take initiative, start your journey, because this is the most important and significant aspect. What is taking initiative? No matter how poor, no matter how bad in your organization and presentation you are, because if you do it and if you do it again and again, then definitely you can be at excelled level. Friends, performance anxiety is what? This is often referred as stage fear or stage fright. A lot of things are there. Sometimes we prejudge ourselves whether what reaction the audience could have about my presentation, about my delivery, about my speech, about my appearance, about my interaction. A lot of questions, myriad questions we can have on our minds when we are about to deliver our ideas, deliver our presentation, and that prejudging bars your presentation from becoming an effective and productive presentation. So, friends, stop prejudging. Prepare yourself, have your rehearsals, and without any hesitation, directly you can go on stage and start your delivery of presentation. If you have any reservations in your mind, then definitely your presentation will not be at par, because prejudging stops you, because it's a kind of psychological block, psychological barrier that doesn't allow to be convincing, effective during your presentation. It's psychological reaction, as I said earlier. What is stage fear? What is performance anxiety? It is nothing but psychological fear, psychological reaction, whether my presentation would be up to the mark, whether I'll have positive feedback on my presentation from my audience. Such kind of things can be there. It's what? A psychological reaction to the fear of public embarrassment, and practice is the only solution. How you can overcome the psychological reaction? If you practice, because I already told you that prepare, practice, plan, and perform. This is what the 4 basic mantras of effective delivery of your presentation. Friends, if you feel that you are under pressure, you are under tense, then to lose yourself, to gain your confidence, what you can do? In anxiety, what happens? Body tightens to impair your ability to move, gesture, and speak. So what you can do? You can exercise over there, and that is the best antidote. Arrive early at the place of your presentation. Take a brisk walk, because walking helps a lot to overcome your stress, anxiety, to overcome your fear which is in your mind. Stretch your body, loosen your body, move your arms, rotate your hands, neck, and eyes. And friends, in addition to that, deep breathing helps a lot. So in this way, through your exercises, you can overcome your tense situation. Friends, remember to breathe, because deep breathing oxygenates your body to keep you sparkling, energetic during your delivery. And always keep water at your hand, because dry mouth is a symptom of your stage fright. It makes you more anxious, more watchful, more cautious. So drink a small amount of water during your presentation so you can be energetic. Remember, audience want you to succeed. Don't have that horn effect, that audience are there to negate my success. It's not like that. Audience are there to listen your thoughts, to listen your knowledge, what kind of person you are, to check, to evaluate that. They are there. They are not there to negate you. They are not there to embarrass you or harass you. Friends, performance anxiety is the part of subconscious fear of how audience will react to your presentation. So no prejudging if you want to be productive, convincing, and winning during your presentation. And the most important step is what? Well preparedness. If you prepare well, thoroughly, again and again, then definitely you don't have any fear, any tense in your mind. Friends, performance anxiety is the result of what? Making mistakes in front of people. Sometimes we prejudge and we say that no, my speech won't be effective. My delivery cannot be that much effective. And that prejudging affect what? Your performance. If you familiarize the text through careful planning, preparation, and rehearse it again and again with proper dress, you can overcome it. When you are organizing your content, when you are rehearsing your presentation, each and everything matters. Your apparel, your dressing, your pauses, your interaction, how do you move your body, how do you interact with your audience. All these parameters are important when it comes to evaluation of your presentation. So friends, you have to keep in mind all these points when you are doing preparation of your presentation. So friends, so far we have talked about managing stage anxiety and stage fear. What is stage fright? I told you that this is what a psychological reaction to your audience. And in what way you can overcome that? Through only practice and exercise. A little bit exercise, little bit drinking of water, and much of your rehearsal, thorough preparation and practice help you to overcome this barrier. Now let's see another point of presentation, that is managing Q&A session. Friend, in the beginning itself, at the outset of your presentation, establish ground rules at what time and when you are going to have Q&A session. Because when you are doing your presentation, during your presentation, if any audience comes with his or her question, then definitely your train of thought can get stuck up over there. So first define whether in the middle, whether at end, or when you are going to have Q&A session. So you can instruct your audience and tell them, write down their difficulties and thoughts, and during Q&A session they can ask you and you can interact with them. Kickstart questions from your side to initiate. Sometimes what happens, your audience may be very they can have a reserved kind of mindset. They may not release their question. So you can ask your rhetorical questions in the beginning to initiate the session. Listen to the entire question. Suppose that half question you understand, then don't say, yes, I understood, sit down, I'll explain. Let your one who is asking a question, let him or her complete the question. Try to repeat the question whether you have understood that proper thread, that proper hue of the question or not. Because the outlook of the person who is asking question can be different, and your outlook as a presenter can be different. So that outlook, that perspective should be similar. Then and then only you will be in a position to justify your question. Interrupt if question is getting rambled. Sometimes what happens, intellectual aggressor kind of questioners can be there, and they want to grab the light of your presentation, focus of your presentation. At the time, if the question is getting rambled, getting wavered, directionless, out of track, then you have to interrupt the questionnaire. Don't one person control the session. That principle you always have to keep in your mind. Not one person always dominate the session. Repeat the question to clear that you have understood, as I said earlier. Answer to the entire audience. Avoid person-to-person conversation. Suppose that person A has asked a question. Then when you are answering that question, when you are replying, you shouldn't look to that a person only. When you are interacting, your interaction should be with all your audience. Though that one person A, Mr. A has asked you the question, but your interaction should be with entire crowd, entire audience. Don't answer if you don't know the answer. It's not necessary that every question thrown to you, you are supposed to answer and you are answerable to it. It's not like that. If really, genuinely, if you don't know the answer, be frank. Tell them that you don't know the answer. That reflects the trust that you have about your content. Don't invent reply, as it costs your credibility. If you give any invented reply, then it sometimes can discredit you. Anticipate questions. When you are doing your preparation about your presentation, don't think that questions won't be there regarding this presentation. Always hope for the questions and prepare accordingly. Identify the common questions and rehearse your answers. Sometimes looking at your topic, looking at your organization of thought, looking at your presentation, you can very easily guess and estimate what kind of questions can be there, and you can prepare the answers to have your Q&A session in the best way, or handle it in the best way. Restate the question, as I said earlier. State your positive support. Friends, when you are managing QA session, you have to keep all these points also in your mind. What are these points? Summarize your responses. Whenever you are answering, and if your answering is longer, then at last you have to summarize in short what was your reply. Announce when you take questions at the beginning itself. As I said, ground rules, your QA session, that should be defined at what time you are going to have. Indicate how will you identify the questionnaire, whether the person will go to him or her, or whether the questioner has to raise hand, whether the questioner has to write the question on a page and that page will come to you. Define the strategy in the beginning itself. Don't allow Q&A session drag on, set a time limit. Effective presenter always cope up the QA session in the best way. If a specific time limit is not there to Q&A session, if a specific limit of question is not there to Q&A session, then definitely your presentation will be rambled. And to manage it in the best way, to cope up with your QA session in the best way, please, in the beginning itself, define how many questions you are going to have, and what will be the duration of your QA session. Friends, don't invite questions and quickly end the session. Don't say that now I am open for the question QA session. Now it can go to interactive session, and don't say that now it's over. Give specific time for your QA session if you want to be convincing and effective presenter. Encourage questions by asking and answering. You have to be very, very positive towards your questions and questionnaire. Then and then only you can be effective in your presentation. Listen entire presentation. Try to understand the different aspect, different angles of your question. Then and then only your reply can satisfy the questionnaire. Repeat the question so that everyone can hear you. Sometimes the one who is asking question and you as a presenter, you can listen the question and your questionnaire can ask you a question. But sometimes what happens, the crowd, the entire audience sometimes fail to understand, to listen. At the time you need to repeat your question. Make sure that questionnaire satisfies audience. So when you are answering, when you are giving reply, at the time you have to put in mind what is defensive response and reply and what is open response. If you say, you missed my point when someone has asked you the question, the answer is already in my presentation and you missed my point, that is what defensive reply. And if you give your answer reply in this way, perhaps I wasn't clear during my presentation, I'll briefly restate the main idea of my presentation. That's what open response. Instead of saying you missed my point, you should say, perhaps I wasn't clear during my presentation on that point. Briefly, I'll restate my ideas here now. That is what your open positive remark. You don't understand. Instead of saying you don't understand, what you say, what you should say, let me clarify that point. That opens your courtesy. And if you say you don't understand, you are trying to negate that questionnaire. No, that don't work. Means instead of negative replies, what you should have, here is my approach, here is my attitude, here is my outlook. Is that a serious question? If someone has asked a question for you, it may be not a serious. But if you say like this, is that a serious question? Then that harass your audience. Instead of that, what you should say, thanks for your questions. I'll try to answer briefly. In this way, if you manage yourself and your QA session, then definitely you can be effective presenter. Friends, let's see the most important aspect of presentation. That is what presentation evaluation will. What is that presentation evaluation will? See, this is what evaluation method. On what basis your presentation can be evaluated? Questioning should be there. In what way you are conducting your presentation, that is also most important thing. What are the assessments, methods and techniques, that also should be the point. You are answering, you are questioning and questioning to you. What are considerations? Your considerations and considerations of the audience. Then what are the exclusions? And in what way you are generating your presentation, your data. Each and everything is important during your presentation, because when it comes to evaluation and assessment of your presentation, what can be assessed? What are physical and motor skills? In what way you have considered the parameters related to vision for the visual learners, then hearing for the auditory learners, means along with your cognitive abilities, how you are disseminating your ideas, thoughts and knowledge. What are the academic skill, whether your presentation is academic skills oriented or not, communication skills, what kind of communication skills you have, along with that social and emotional skills, because these are also important one, and functional skills. See, all these are the parameters on which your presentation can be evaluated, can be assessed, and you as a presenter can be evaluated and judged. So friends, if you want to be effective, convincing, productive, successful presenter, then you have to pay attention to all these things. Friends, designing effective presentation and making effective delivery of presentation is not solely depend on one criteria. All these criteria you have to keep in mind, and with the help of all these criteria, you can make your presentation more deliverable, more convincing, and more effective. When it comes to end of the presentation evaluation sheet can be there, and on that sheet, name of presenter can be there, date of presentation can be there, and along with these 10 points. I do not say that these points must be there. These are the general points which can be there: introduction to the topic, clarity of presentation, sequence and continuity of your presentation, voice, speech and delivery of your presentation, use of audio and video aids, eye contact and audience awareness, interaction with your audience, then the general pauses and pairings, then knowledge of the subject, and style and conclusion of the presentation. These are the parameters on which your presentation evaluation sheet can be generated. Friends, throughout this presentation and video, I have used these references. You can, if you want to go further, if you want to know more about making effective delivery of your presentation, then you can refer these books, these materials which are available. Swayam, that is that is the resource platform that we have, Wikipedia, as you know well. So friends, if any doubts, any difficulties regarding this video, regarding understanding of this topic, if you have, you can post your difficulties and your problems on my YouTube channel. So friends, thank you very much for your appreciative remarks, comments and your motivation. So friends, so far we have talked effective delivery of presentation in each and every corner, each and every point to make your presentation deliverable, effective and convincing. We have explored. If still you have any doubt about making effective delivery of your presentation, you can post your doubts on my YouTube channel. So thank you, your friends. Thank you once again.